Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. As always, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check the video out. I really do appreciate the continued support. We have more PlayStation news, rumors, and leaks to go over and discuss in this video today. So before we dive into these topics, make sure you hit that like button to help the video out and show it your support. And if you are new here to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. The first topic we're discussing has to do with Sony and their relationship with independent developers. You may remember that earlier this year, this was quite the topic where there was a lot of negative conversations surrounding Sony and how they handled their relationships with independent devs. So let's go over the new information here. This is reading from PlayStation Lifestyle, and they say Sony's relationship with their indie partners has been a little rocky over the last few months. First, there was the confusion over the closure of the PlayStation Vita store, where a lack of communication on Sony's part saw several Vita games canceled. Then others took to Twitter in July to complain about PlayStation Store discount policies, the costs of having games on the store, and issues with communication again. At the time, Sony made no comment. However, according to the results of Sony's 2021 Global Partner Survey obtained by IGN, Sony has identified 3 areas of improvement in an attempt to repair the damaged relationship with their PlayStation indie partners. The first area of improvement is to reduce the complexity of the relationship between Sony and indie partners. This includes areas like making sure partners understand the way Sony operates so the studios can make informed decisions, and improving communication, such as making it clear who will be working with the publishers over any concerns. The second area of improvement was in regards to promotions. They will be allowing both publishers and developers better access to PlayStation Store sales, promotion analytics, and improved engagement. They'll also be looking to enhance discoverability for smaller games, likely to do it the way it will be featured in the PlayStation Store. Finally, the third area of improvement is when dealing with issues and complaints. Sony will do this by modernizing their toolset to improve ticketing systems, documentation, and customer service efforts. Sony already seems to be making a start on some of these improvements. Acupara Games CEO David Logan told IGN that it was clear that the account managers at Sony had been working hard for a long time to push through a lot of the ideas the indie developers flagged, and that Sony started rolling out a bunch of big changes not long after the indie partners' criticisms went public in July. This has included extremely improved response times, with most responses arriving between 24 and 48 hours after initial communication. There's also been better promotion for some games in places like the PlayStation YouTube channel, more streamlined game pages, and new sections on the PlayStation Store, subsidized porting costs with very friendly terms, and more opportunities to discount their games. So this is something I wanted to be sure to talk about because I think it's really good news for Sony. This was a pretty big concern for a lot of people earlier this year. I did think that it was a little bit blown out of proportion because I had a feeling that if it was as bad and as serious as we were being told it was, then it was obvious that Sony was going to do something. I think Sony's lack of communication publicly is what led to a lot of anxiety with maybe certain groups or certain people who really are fond of indie games and want to continue to see indie games thrive on the PlayStation Network and in the PlayStation ecosystem. So, hearing this from IGN is really good news. I'm glad that IGN reported on this because, people are quick to jump on something when it's negative news, when it's bad news, when it seems doom and gloom, but not many will actually pay attention to something like this where Sony is actively working hard, seemingly, to make sure that they correct anything that is causing issues between them and their indie partners. And I think that's just a good thing. That can only improve the situation, that can only make things better for indie devs and PlayStation. So very happy to hear that. Let me know your thoughts on that. We're going to move on to the next topic, which, believe it or not, is talking about Silent Hill. I did not think we would be talking about it again, but this time we have something coming from the original creator of Silent Hill. Now, this is reading from WCCF Tech, and they say over the past couple of years, rumors of a Silent Hill remake or revival have persisted, but no official announcement has materialized. Everybody seems to have an opinion on how a Silent Hill revival ought to be handled, including the series co-creator Kichiro Toyama. Early Silent Hill rumors indicated Sony Japan Studio was working on a new entry under Toyama's guidance, but instead, Sony shut the team down and Toyama founded a new independent development house, Bokeh Game Studios. Whether Toyama was ever really working on another Silent Hill is unknown, but in a new interview with VGC, he rejected the idea of a straightforward remake. This is what he had to say. I think Silent Hill would be harder to remake than Resident Evil because the gameplay as a concept is a little older. It's not an action game where you can just refine the action, as in Biohazard. To bring Silent Hill up to current standards or to polish up the graphics, the fans wouldn't be satisfied. That's not what it was about, how beautiful it was. I think you'd have to rethink the concept, make it interesting to fans. If there was a new entry in the future, I would obviously be very interested in it as one user. I know there are many games that followed in the footsteps of Silent Hill today, so I would particularly like to know what a new entry would leave and change from the original. So I thought the timing of him talking about this is funny. We saw what happened at the Game Awards, everything that happened throughout 2021 in regards to Silent Hill. Nobody really knows if we are actually going to get another Silent Hill. You have to imagine that at some point in the future, at some point, we're going to get a new one. We have no idea who's going to develop it, and it's hard to say if it's going to be like a complete revival or a remake or something just completely different, but I do agree with what Toyama is saying here. And I think that this is what most Silent Hill fans would want. You wouldn't want something that's just a one-to-one remake, although I don't think everybody would be upset with that. I think it's just dependent on how it's handled. But the idea of Silent Hill, the concepts that are there for Silent Hill, I think that they can kind of be played with a little bit more, right? Like they can kind of deviate and go into different directions. And there's more potential for, I think, originality just based off of the concept of Silent Hill and what's there. And I think that it's kind of ripe for a talented development team to kind of take those concepts, take those ideas, bring them forward and then really kind of do something with them in a more meaningful way. I think that's really kind of what Toyama's trying to get at here. As he says at the end, he'd be interested to see what they keep the same and what they kind of add in. And so, yeah, I just wanted to take a moment to let you guys know that one of the original creators of Silent Hill kind of chimed in and let us know what they would want to see with a modern day Silent Hill. So here's hoping we get one at some point from a development team that, really gets us excited. But moving on to the next topic, keeping Silent Hill in mind, we have PlayStation 4's firmware 9.00. It's been jailbroken, and this is definitely concerning for Sony, but there's actually an upside to it, and that upside is that you can play PT again on a PS4 if you actually jailbreak it. So this is reading from PlayStation Universe, and it says the PlayStation 4 has recently been jailbroken once again with firmware 9.00 falling to POOBS4. What this means, however, is that once again there is a path to playing the long-lost PT, or playable teaser. Originally released as just a demo for the PS4, this was the Silent Hill game we should have had but never got, the Star Wars 1313 of horror games, if you will, but worse because we got a public demo. Since Kojima and Konami's falling out, this has put the project to bed. Anyone who still had a copy of the demo installed was allowed to keep it. And so I thought that this was something that was worth mentioning. I don't know how many people are going to go out there and try to jailbreak a PS4, nor am I necessarily encouraging that. But I do think that, it's nice to see that if you are somebody who wants to go back and experience PT, or maybe you're somebody who never has, there is now a viable way for you to do that. So yeah, just wanted to take a moment to mention that since we were talking about Silent Hill. But next up, we're going to talk briefly about Spider Man. This is a pretty interesting story, or at least one that I thought was kind of cool. So Spider Man No Way Home is going to be hitting cinemas this week, and its star Tom Holland has given fans of video games something to watch out for. According to Holland, the movie will feature a move ripped straight from Insomniac Games' Marvel's Spider-Man Remastered, or Spider-Man 2018. In fact, Holland revealed that Sony gifted the cast and crew a PS5 to play the remastered version of the game, and he loves it. And he says, "I loved it. I think the game is amazing. There is one move that Spider-Man does in the game that we took, and he does it in the film, and it's really cool." So This isn't anything major, but, you know, I assume that a lot of you are going to be, you know, watching this movie. And when you do, it might be worth trying to, you know, keep an eye out to see if you actually spot which move he's talking about. He doesn't reveal which one, but he's sure to let us know that there will be a move featured in this film that was taken from the game. And I just think that that's so cool. It's nice to see that Insomniac Games, you know, they're having a very wide influence here that's, you know, not just affecting gaming and, you know, probably other superhero video games, but also even the movies to a small extent as well. So yeah, just wanted to let you guys know about that. I thought it was cool. But next up, we're talking about Hogwarts Legacy. This is a pretty interesting one because I think a lot of people began to realize that they correctly talked about Star Wars Eclipse before it was officially revealed. They gave out some information and were talking about it, and no one was really paying too much attention. But then people kind of noticed once the game was revealed that, wait a second, this person knew before the announcement and was out here talking about it before it was officially announced. So that will give you a little bit of an idea as to whether or not, you know, you can take this person as credible or not. But they say, anyway, things got moving for Hogwarts Legacy today. I'm expecting the trailer very soon. And I thought that this was worth mentioning because we were talking not that long ago about Hogwarts Legacy, and from another insider known as Millie A on Twitter, she's been talking about the game somewhat frequently because she gets asked about it a lot, and she was saying that WB was kind of on the fence. They're unsure as to whether or not they want to show it again. They're feeling very nervous and hesitant, but it sounds like, if you believe ACC NGT, sounds like they're going to proceed with it and actually reveal a new trailer soon. So people are going to be very happy about that. Now, I think the next question that PlayStation fans in particular who are looking forward to this game are going to ask, and I think it's understandable why they would ask this, is, well, can we expect to see this trailer at a PlayStation event or state of play of some kind? Well, it's safe to say Sony's not going to be holding any more events for the rest of the year. We'll probably get another PlayStation event sometime next year, likely closer to E3, or maybe in like February. We'll have to wait and see. But there maybe is a chance that Sony will hold a state of play, and maybe Hogwarts Legacy will be there. We have to remember that Sony, I think, does have the marketing rights to Hogwarts Legacy, or at the very least, we saw it originally revealed during another Hogwarts Legacy trailer very soon, and I'm sure that many of you are going to be looking forward to that. So that's going to do it for this video, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. I hope you did find it informative. Be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments below. I'll be interested to see what you have to say. Again, leave the video a like, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell notification icon, and feel free to share this video out on top of all that. But until next time, guys, take care.